preparing for claims and objections period. 3 non-resident ambassadors accredited, and Massey opens mega store. This is InfoHub Recap. Stay with us for the next half an hour as we take you through major stories covered during the week September 9th to 13th.
The future of Guyana has never looked better. Our nation is on the cusp of a development program like never seen before. While Guyana is now emerging as an energy giant through the discovery of massive reserves of oil and natural gas, it is your government's intention that the huge benefits emerging from this will go where it matters most, to you, the people of this beloved country. There is a surge of confidence in the way Guyana is governed once again, and the level of investor interest is unprecedented. Guyana is poised to become the breadbasket of the region, and the pace at which this nation will grow through prudent fiscal management will be nothing short of impressive. But more than anything else will be the way every Guyanese, regardless of color, class, or creed, becomes a part of this historic period of national transformation, sharing in the wealth and well-being of it all as one Guyana.
Thanks for joining us. It was another packed week for His Excellency President David Granger as he declared open the Heritage Village activities at Rivers View. While there, he noted that the community is on the verge of prosperity.
Rivers View made history today as the first Upper Demerara Berbice village to host the National Heritage Day activities since it started in 1995. According to President David Granger, Rivers View, which straddles two of the richest regions in Guyana, the Cayenne-Mazaruni and the Upper Demerara Berbice, is on the verge of prosperity. He noted that while mining, logging and ecotourism will see the residents benefiting, it is through education that this promise of success will become a reality.
Education is not a sideshow. Education is central to the development not only of Rivers View, but to the entire indigenous community, to the entire Region 7, Region 10, and to the entire country of Guyana. It is through education that it will equip your children to become ophthalmologists of the future. It is through education you will develop this human capital to make your promises of prosperity into reality. It is through education that your children will be enabled to develop the economy of these two great regions, Region 7 and Region 10.
Minister of Indigenous Religious Affairs Sidney Alikok charged the residents to capitalize on the opportunity to showcase their culture with the rest of Guyana.
You should be proud of the title Indigenous Heritage Village and should not take this occasion lightly. Instead, I urge you to capitalize on the opportunity to market your products, share your knowledge and experience with those who are visiting for the first time. Introduce them to the things that make Rivers View special and outstanding from the rest.
With videographers Kenyan Bacchus and Tejpal Bridgemahan from the community of Rivers View, I am Sinika Thorne for InfoHub.
As Guyana continues to strengthen its diplomatic relations globally, this week was marked with the accreditation of 3 non-resident ambassadors.
The head of state accepted the letters of credence from the non-resident ambassadors of the Republic of Finland, the state of Kuwait, and Ireland to the Cooperative Republic of Guyana. In his remarks, President Granger noted that Guyana and the 3 nations have several areas of mutual interest.
Our relations are founded on mutual respect for each other's territorial integrity and sovereignty, mutual non-interference in each other's internal affairs, cooperation for mutual benefit, respect for treaty and international law, and the maintenance of regional peace and security. Guyana looks forward to strengthening our bilateral relations.
The non-resident ambassadors all expressed their country's commitment to contributing to Guyana's economic development.
Finland is often described by international think tanks being one of the most technologically advanced nations. Our products can be found everywhere in the world, and brand names like Finnish Mint, Nokia, Vaisala, and Wärtsilä are also well known in Guyana. I wish these and other Finnish companies could contribute into the transformation of the Guyanese economy.
I would like also to strengthen the good relations between the two countries and the keenness of Kuwait to strengthen these relations, especially in the economic field. Kuwait Economic Fund and Investment Authority can play a big role in these investments.
The Caribbean is a focus area for the Government of Ireland as we seek to increase our global footprint. I look forward to engaging with your government to explore ways to strengthen our bilateral relations, including through our membership of the European Union.
President Granger wished the ambassadors much success during their tenures and assured them of his government's support in the discharge of their duties.
The head of state then closed his week out with a visit to the New Amsterdam Secondary School, where he presented a check for $1 million that will be used to boost the institution's science and technology departments.
I brought you a check for $1 million. And I will ask for this money to be used primarily for science, technology, engineering, and mathematics education. I want to place special emphasis on science, technology, engineering, and mathematics to equip you for the knowledge-based future of our country.
In his remarks to the teachers and students, His Excellency President David Granger reminded that the coalition government has placed education on the forefront, noting that national development is made possible through education. He reiterated his administration's plans to make education free from nursery to tertiary.
Education is a top priority, as your headmistress said. But education from nursery to university, used to be provided free of cost from 1976. It will be provided free of cost in the next decade of development. That is not an invention on my part. It is an entitlement that is given to you under the Constitution.
During the visit to the New Amsterdam Multilateral School, the President was accompanied by Minister of Education, the Honorable Dr. Nicolette Henry, who emphasized the importance education plays in national development.
Education plays a central role in the growth of any country's development, as it provides, in many instances, the opportunity for many individuals to improve their lives, become more successful members of society, and therefore they're ultimately better contributors to the nation's development.
Head teacher of the New Amsterdam Multilateral School, Vanessa Jacobs, assured the head of state that the staff of the institution are committed to ensuring that the students receive quality education. Following the assembly, President Granger, along with Minister Henry, toured the school's science and technology facilities. Reporting from the New Amsterdam Multilateral School with videographer Akeem Thomas and Arakan for InfoHub.
First Lady, Her Excellency Sandra Granger, officially welcomed Guyana's first floating production, storage and offloading vessel, the Liza Destiny. The First Lady noted that it will benefit all Guyanese.
I would like to hope for the Liza Destiny, the partners and the crew, that it will bring us all the good things we anticipate. Not only the profits and return of investment for the Exxon and its partners, but also for the people of Guyana, and in particular our children, a better quality of life, sustainable development, and everything from which good oil will flow.
First Lady Sandra Granger In his remarks to the gathering, Director Department of Energy Dr. Mark Bino stated that the arrival of the Lisa Destiny, Guyana's first floating production, storage and offloading vessel, represents a historic milestone for Guyana.
Guyana is about to experience a tectonic shift in its development trajectory. The discovery of significant oil offshore the country's shores since 2015 by Esso Exploration and Production Guyana Limited and its joint venture partners Hess Guyana Exploration Limited and Sinop Petroleum Guyana Limited, estimated at more than 6 billion barrels of oil equivalent to date, is expected to be the main catalyst for this transformation.
Rod Henson, president of Esso Exploration and Production Guyana Limited, echoed the energy director's sentiments.
The arrival of the Lisa Destiny is a historic event, and first oil will mark a turning point in Guyana's history, ushering in a future of enormous potential. Now that will mean something different to each person in Guyana, just as each person's destiny is different.
The commemorative cultural performances in the forms of dance, poetry and musical rendition. The event was attended by Prime Minister the Honourable Moses Nagamutu, government ministers and senior officials, members of the diplomatic corps and special invitees. Earlier in the day, Mrs. Granger, along with Dr. Bino, Ministers of State, Finance and Natural Resources, the Honourable Don Hastings Williams, Honourable Winston Jordan and Honourable Raphael Trotman were given a tour of the vessel. Felicia Valenzuela, InfoHub.
Guyana joined fellow Amazonian countries in signing an agreement to protect the world's largest tropical forest. It comes at a time when the Amazon is under threat from fires.
Minister of Natural Resources Raphael Trotman travelled to Colombia and signed the agreement on behalf of President David Granger and the government of Guyana. He was accompanied by head of the Forest Carbon Partnership Facility Project, FCPF, Clayton Hall, and Guyana's ambassador to Brazil, George Talbot. The agreement aims to coordinate disaster response and satellite monitoring of the tropical forest. While delivering short remarks, Minister Trotman reiterated that President Granger is the visionary who conceptualized the Green State Development Strategy GSDS for Guyana, describing it as Guyana's lighted path towards attaining a green and sustainable economy and is open to be shared and improved upon. The Amazon, which spans 8 countries including Guyana, is the world's largest rainforest. It produces approximately 20% of Earth's oxygen and covers 40% of South America. It is inhabited by 30 million people and home to a vast number of species of animals and plants. The other signatories are Colombia, Bolivia, Ecuador, Peru, Suriname and Brazil. Felicia Valenzuela, InfoHub.
Guyana is on the verge of adding yet another major airline to cement the connection with North America. This comes as JetBlue officially announced the expansion of its non-stop services that will commence April 2, 2020 between Guyana to New York. According to JetBlue's media website, the airline said it will be introducing a new low-fare, high-quality choice to travelers in Guyana. Minister of Public Infrastructure, the Honourable David Pattison, commended JetBlue's decision to enter the Guyana market. He noted that the agreement with JetBlue is timely and comes on the heels of continued and sustainable growth in several sectors of our economy. Read more about this story on our website at www.dpi.gov.gy. In another show of investors' confidence, Minister of Finance, the Honourable Winston Jordan, opened the Massey Mega Store. The facility, located in the Movietown compound, offers everything from lettuce to luggage.
Commending the store's management for their profitability in operating in Guyana for more than 50 years, the Finance Minister Winston Jordan also called for partnerships with local producers.
Partnership and profit are not anathema. It is a win-win for all. Supporting local producers while balancing variety, cost and convenience works out best all round. The farmer that has a contract with Massey Stores to supply pumpkins is assured of a ready market and can therefore cultivate his crop and look forward to an assured income.
Minister Jordan added that the coalition government welcomed investors such as Massey who utilized green practices and continuously invested in Guyana's economy.
The company has stood firm on its vision and has continually strived for excellence. Today, the company has excelled to open another giant supermarket or mega store. Heartiest congratulations to the directors, management and staff for taking the company forward.
Chairman of Massey's Integrated Retail Business Unit, David Alfonso, described the store as having a unique format.
The mega format is like a warehouse or club shopping experience, which has become very popular in the US, where customers have the option to purchase a wide variety of items in larger quantities at very affordable prices. The big difference with Massey Mega is that there are no membership fees. At Massey Mega, all are welcome.
In addition to the traditional fresh and packaged food, the store also offers car care products, camping gear, and electronics. Its loyalty program offers shoppers the chance to redeem points for cash at the Turkine and Providence locations.
This is Massey's second store in Guyana, and they're offering, according to the executives, everything from lettuce to luggage. And of course, you can also sign up for the discount card, like I did, to get more discounts. With videographer Anil Silal at the Massey store Mega in Turkine, I'm Paul McAdam for InfoHub.
The issue of overseas voting in the general and regional elections was once again brought to the fore when Attorney General and Minister of Legal Affairs, the Honorable Bastel Williams, met with the United States Carter Center.
The meeting with the four-member Carter Center team addressed a range of issues, including the activation of a legislation engendered by former U.S. President Jimmy Carter, which ended overseas voting here. Attorney General and Minister of Legal Affairs Bastel Williams said it was under the Election Laws Amendment Act No. 3 of 1991 that legislation was put forward,
which provided that only citizens in embassies and high commissions and their family could vote. And they buttressed that provision by the Constitutional Amendment Act No. 4 of 1991. They did a lot of work.
The team was shown the constitutional reform report used by the courts, which indicates the requirement of residents to be in Guyana at a time for elections.
So only citizens resident in Guyana could vote in Guyana. And the Constitutional Reform Commission Act of 21 persons, 18 voted in favor that for only citizens resident in Guyana was voting in elections.
The Attorney General said while the issue was not argued before the Acting Chief Justice in the recent challenge to the house-to-house registration, her ruling that the names of persons should not be removed from the list suggests that overseas voting exists. The government has already moved to the court to appeal that part of the ruling. Among the other issues addressed were the government's interest in credible election, the legal situation of the country, and the state of the parliament, the executive, the judiciary, and the Guyana Elections Commission. Reporting for InfoHub, Alexis Rodney.
The Guyana Elections Commission is preparing for its extended claims and objections period, which will commence as soon as the preliminary list of electors is extracted.
The data garnered from GCOM's house-to-house registration exercise, which came to an end on August 31, is currently being merged with the existing National Register of Registrants database. Public Relations Officer Yolanda Ward explains that from the merged data, a preliminary list of electors will be generated.
That preliminary list of electors will move us straight into a claims and objections exercise. So we cannot immediately run into the claims and objections exercise because we are still going through that process of the merger.
The claims and objections period will allow persons who will be 18 years old by the end of October of this year to be registered. Individuals who have had changes in their particulars, including addresses and names, can also utilize this period.
I really want to implore citizens to ensure that they have those documents ready, particularly those who have never been registered before. You're a Guyanese citizen by birth, descent, naturalization, or registration. You will be 18 years and older by the 31st of October 2019, or you're a citizen of a Commonwealth country living in Guyana for a period of no less than 1 year preceding the 31st of October. So once you have met any of those criteria, you're eligible to use the claims and objections exercise to ensure that you're registered so that you will be on the official list of electors.
Meanwhile, the Guyana Elections Commission continues with the training of polling day staff. So far, the agency has trained over 6,000 persons, within sections of Georgetown, the East Coast and East Bank, regions 1, 2, 5, and 10. The Commission will be moving to the East Berbice-Corentyne region over the weekend, where 2,400 persons are expected to be trained. Reporting for InfoHub, Alexis Rodney.
A high-level government delegation met with the Ghana Elections Commission to discuss its preparedness for the upcoming general and regional elections.
The delegation, which was led by Public Health Minister the Honorable Valda Lawrence, sought among other things to determine ways through which support could be given to the entity as it prepares for the country's general and regional elections. The high-level ministerial team included the Honorable Amna Ali, the Honorable Basil Williams, the Honorable Kathy Hughes, the Honorable Tabitha Sarabo Ali, the Honorable Sidney Alicock, the Honorable Keith Scott, the Honorable David Patterson, and the Honorable Jaipal Sharma.
Today we were assured by the chair and commissioners that no timeline has set and that they are working to see whether they will be able to hold elections this year, given the timetable which they have and the statutory requirements which they will ensure that they abide by.
The delegation was also assured that the data from the recent house-to-house registration process will be used in the upcoming elections. In light of the new time factor now placed on the elections body, questions were raised about its financial status and the availability of resources for the elections. Minister Lawrence noted GCOM's assurance that it is examining the situation and will provide the relevant information soonest.
We were able also to put forward our case in terms of us ensuring that the list is credible, that persons be given the opportunity who were not allowed to register in the house-to-house registration, that during the claims period, they will be given the opportunity to do so.
Minister Lawrence reiterated that while the administration stands ready for elections at any time, the availability of a credible list is paramount to the process. In the meantime, the Guyana Elections Commission said that it will be executing the mandate laid out in its statute, even as it prepares for elections this year. Minister Lawrence said that the government has faith in the leadership of GCOM and will continue to work with the entity. Reporting for InfoHub, Alexis Rodney.
The East La Penitence Market will soon get a multi-million-dollar facelift as Phase 2 of rehabilitation works are slated to begin.
During an inspection of the market by officials from the Ministry of Communities and the Mayor and City Council, Deputy City Engineer Rashid Kelman explained that the project will see the stalls in the market receiving a major overhaul.
There's a proposal to do a major rehabilitation to the structure of itself in the market, the roof and all the stalls. But that will come in the next phase. This phase 1 here basically is just to do the roads and the revetment. Because at the same time, this is more critical right now.
The $39.5 million road rehabilitation works completed in the first phase of the project was a joint effort between the Ministry of Communities and City Hall. Vendors who occupy the market gave the upgrades high marks.
I'm very happy because I'm selling in this market 20 years now, and in 20 years nothing has been done. So everybody in the market is very happy, like really, really happy.
I'm quite thankful for this, this is very important for this community especially. This is a very depressed community and we need some upliftment within this community like this.
I'm so comfortable that the road is finished and at least we shall have more customers coming.
Councillor responsible for the East La Penitence community, Tricia Richards, said the work is timely, adding that it will boost business for the vendors.
It's caused vendors not to be able to maximize business within the market because persons didn't want to come in the market because of the state of the road. And now they're very happy, they're overjoyed, they're excited that they now can have business, and people are now happy and excited that business will be booming in this market.
A sign will be erected at the front of the market, followed by a commissioning ceremony scheduled to be held soon. Isaiah Braffett for InfoHub.
Kilcoy Chesney on the Corentyne Coast, an experiment housing scheme on the west coast of Berbice, recently benefited from upgraded roads, a project facilitated by the Central Housing and Planning Authority.
The projects have created smooth thoroughfares for residents and commuters to travel. According to Tejwati Rupchand, a civil engineer attached to the Central Housing and Planning Authority, the road upgrades in the two communities were completed at a cost of $25 million each.
The scope of the works was the repair for the failed areas, after which we scarified and we would have placed crusher on, after which we would have surfaced with the asphaltic concrete.
Additional roads in the communities are expected to be upgraded as plans are currently ongoing for same.
We have another batch of roads to be awarded. We already conclude the tender process of that. Kilcoy-Chesney is among that for another phase of development.
Stephen Fraser, who occupies a plot of land at Kilcoy-Chesney, described the development as a blessing.
Of course, the road was in a terrible situation and we had very big holes and so forth. But to see we having it paved, it's indeed a blessing. I think it's the best thing that could have happened for us in this community.
Over at the experiment housing scheme, Bikram Kublal did not hesitate to express his satisfaction.
Well, now I could see the road, very, very nice, that anything could go in, come in free. Well, it was a hard challenge because when many trucks come in, a lot of small vehicles like car and minibus can't even come in and got to left halfway. Sometimes some vehicles got to stay far away when you bring in your little goods and thing. Many people just got to stay far, to taxi and got to stay away, and then people got to fetch them rest of the thing for reaching.
So it's better now?
Yeah, it's better, far way better now.
For InfoHub, Ayana George.
A groundbreaking ceremony was held to mark the establishment of the new 1823 Demerara Slave Revolt Monument at the Independence Park.
As many of you may know, the period of the Demerara Revolt in 1823 resulted in the horrific deaths of more than 200 enslaved Africans and peoples of African descent.
Minister of Social Cohesion Dr. George Norton, delivering the feature address. He said that while there is an 1823 monument already erected along the Atlantic Avenue, President David Granger felt it necessary to support the call by historians for the construction of the monument at this particular site.
It was this location that bore witness to numerous gruesome public executions. At this very site, corpses were fallen, enslaved people were hung in chains. In many cases, bodies were decapitated after being hung, and heads were struck on poles as a means of instilling fear in those who survived and remained desirous of claiming their birthright, freedom.
Minister Norton said the monument is an integral part of Guyana's colonial history and was a price paid for us to experience freedom.
We, all Guyanese, are the beneficiaries of the men and women and children who resisted with arms and with other daily actions. We must therefore value their memory and use our time wisely and constructively. I believe that young Guyanese, particularly those of African descent, must see these dreadful aspects of our country's history as a motivation to strive for greatness.
Callan Rover for InfoHub.
It is Education Month, and we close our recap with a look at one of the many initiatives that is making a positive impact on the lives of students across the country, the David G. Bus.
For those privileged enough to be chauffeured to school, the David G. buses may never have any bearing in their lives. But for the thousands of students and parents who utilize these buses, there aren't enough praises that can be sung for the service. Praises that bus driver Frederick Stewart never grows tired of hearing.
Some parent thank me, for what we are doing. Thank the region, matter of fact, for what they are doing, because it has been a great help to them, financial-wise and transportation-wise and these type of things. It assists them a lot.
Frederick has been operating the David G. bus, plying the route between Unity and Lebon Intention. He starts his pickups from 7:30, and by 8:30, 8:45, he finishes up. As our team accompanied Frederick this morning on his trip, One thing was evident. The children were all extremely excited to board their bus. Unfortunately, there are only so many students that can be taken on each bus, something that Frederick wishes to see addressed soon.
As a lot of people can see, this bus stays full most of the time. Sometimes I have to refuse the children, and it hurt me sometimes. But I know we can't put our feelings into play, but we have to do the best we could. You know, subsidizing these type of things. We help our teachers as well. They be stranded. Sometimes I have the children here that I know, they say, that's my teacher, I have her class now. She's stranded, can't catch a bus. I pick her up.
Frederick is of the opinion that at least 2 more buses are needed on the East Coast for them to be able to help all the students, as it is quite clear just the one is not enough.
Many of the children, as we can see for ourselves too, just through transportation-wise, they can't go to school. And those are the ones really turn out to be the smartest ones because they have some very smart children. I've observed that myself, truthfully speaking, you know, because you pay attention enough to them. You see who wants to learn, you can see who don't want to learn. Because you have some children, they actually wait just for this bus because they're sure of going to school. They're not being tampered with and these type of things, squeeze and choke in these buses and these type of things.
While this initiative is merely one part of the 5Bs initiative launched by the APNU AFC government, it is just as impactful as any other aspect of the initiative. As these students line up and wait patiently to go to school and to be taken home, there are those who do the same for the boats. There are students who happily await the breakfast provided by the initiative. All of these factors coming into play help to improve the performance of students all around, as one is more prone to learn when they have no worry about where their next meal is coming from or how they will be getting home. Reporting for InfoHub, Nikosi Bruce.
This has been InfoHub Recap, which looked at major stories carried between September 9 to 13. Remember to subscribe to our website for more stories and follow us on our social media platforms. Have a safe and enjoyable weekend. Goodbye.